reacting to true story scary animations. Yeah. Hey, okay. Hey, all right, blanket buddies. All right.
I feel like an old woman.
No.
Would you like to buy a Christmas tree?
Hustling Christmas trees. But yeah, today we're gonna be checking out these scary animations with my girlfriend, Liz Cooper. Yeah, check her out. We got the links in the description below. Subscribe to her because, you know, all the cool kids are doing it. You guys know the drill. Go ahead, get your snacks, get your candy, get your drink. What is that?
Coffee.
Coffee? Why is there like stains on the lid?
Well, because I ordered it.
Oh, okay.
I ordered it from Uber Eats, so whoever the driver was probably like...
driving a little, doing some off-roading. But yeah, get your candy, your snacks, your chips, your popcorn, everything you need. And then we're gonna check out some of these scary animations.
Gotta get cozy and gotta put on your slippers.
What is that? Is that alive? Oh no.
Flying away.
Oh geez, swat it. Jeez, kill it before it lays eggs. And everybody be sure to check out MJV Animations. They're the ones that made these amazing animations we're about to watch. Link in the description below. But are you ready? Yeah, let's do it. Whoa!
I'm a 29-year-old female, and this happened to me when I was 14. My brother and I went to hang out in the mall with his friends on a weekend. I was the only girl in a boys group, so I mostly stayed on my phone. I am very introverted as well. I was getting bored and feeling somewhat ignored, so I told my brother if he could drop me home. He told me he'll leave after some time. Since we lived far away from the mall, I had to wait for my brother. But at the same time, I was so angry with him that I cut off from the group and started roaming around on my own.
Girl, no.
I was checking some stores while casually walking through when I made eye contact with a man. He seemed to be in his late 40s. He quickly walked up to me and asked, "Are you alone here?" As much as I've had creepy guys hitting on me, his eerie tone just added to that experience. I politely said, "No, I'm with my friends."
My boyfriend's around the corner and he's buff.
Right?
He started walking with me. "But seems like your friends bailed on you, pretty girl." I groaned and replied, "Yeah, that's why I'm on my own." Well, people can be jerks, but that shouldn't limit us from having fun. He smiled big while saying this. Now,
I all of a
before
sudden
you
don't
judge
like
me,
fun.
please keep in mind that I was only 14 and really mad at my brother for ruining my weekend. I asked him if he knew anything fun to do around the mall, and he said there's a newly opened gaming zone. I looked at the food court far away where I could see my brother laughing and having a good time with his friends. I whispered, "A-hole," and then agreed to go to the gaming zone with that man. It was my first time in that mall, so when he said we'd need to go to the basement, as that's where the gaming zone is, I believed him. I really wish I hadn't. We got into the elevator with a bunch of other people. I'm sure they thought the man to be my guardian, so no one bothered that a 14-year-old was following a stranger to the mall basement. One by one, everyone got off, and on the ground floor, the elevator was empty. The man pressed the button to the basement, and we came down to the parking lot. The moment I got off the elevator, my heart skipped a beat. Are you sure there's a gaming zone here?" I asked him. He smiled even bigger and said that the place was under construction, but he had the key to the virtual car racing machine. I nodded, not knowing how deep I was drowning in his lies. He started walking into the dimly lit basement, and I began following him, not knowing what I should do. I thought to text my brother, but there was no network in the basement as well. Now the man started saying how I would enjoy the racing game since there'd be no one to disturb me. Soon, his words started to sound alarming, with creepy double meanings hidden in them. As he said, "The car racing machine is so big and I'll enjoy it riding for hours." Yeah, exactly that's what he said. We were almost halfway into the basement, and I was constantly looking back to notice how far the elevator was getting from me. A bubbling feeling that something was very wrong suddenly kicked into my stomach, and I stopped saying, My brother just texted me. Looks like I'll have to come some other time. See you later, mister. I quickly turned around and started walking back to the elevator. I was walking fast, but also couldn't run because I didn't want to give him the idea that I'd panicked. Suddenly, I heard footsteps rushing towards me, and looking back, I saw him running at me full speed. His face was filled with rage and anger as he yelled at me to stop. That's when I made a run for the elevator. I almost bumped into the closed elevator door and started pressing the button like crazy. Please come down before he gets me.
Girl, take the
I
stairs.
remember praying this to God. The man was inches away when the elevator door opened, and my brother, with his 3 friends, stood inside. What the hell are you doing here? Jimmy said he saw you with some man in the elevator. What's going on? My brother sounded really worried, and I glanced back to point at that creepy dude. But he was nowhere to be found. I'm sure he took off realizing my brother had come to get me. I told my brother about this man, and he took me to the mall security to inform them about this shady old guy. I just hope he's not lurking there, looking for some underage kid to take them to the basement to try his made-up gaming machine.
No!
That's so scary.
I mean, that face though, look at it, and his teeth are all yellow.
Yeah, please don't go anywhere that you don't have signal if you're not with like a close family member.
Yeah, it's not worth it, especially if they look like that. I mean, don't do it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna check out another one. Here we go. You ready?
After that last one, I don't think I am. Even less than before.
We're gonna do it anyway. Here we go.
I've spent the past few months holed up in the house with all the doors locked. It's because anytime I go out, I end up passing a Wendy's.
It's okay, there's nothing scary yet.
I see one of those restaurants.
There's Wendy.
It takes me back to the most horrifying night of my life. It all started on a normal lunch rush at Wendy's. I was working the register, taking orders from dozens of rude customers. They all blended together after a while. But there was one woman who stood out. She was an old lady with wrinkled, sagging skin. Her hair was bright red and tied into 2 pigtails, just like the Wendy's mascot. She even wore the striped blue dress that Wendy wore. I thought it was weird that she was dressed like this, especially since she was old, but I tried to avoid judging customers. What can I get you?
You're perfect. You're exactly what I need.
I'm sorry?
The Colonel. You're the Colonel.
Excuse me?
No, I'm not.
Colonel Sanders. You look just like him.
Oh, the KFC mascot. I chuckled awkwardly. I was an older guy with white hair and a matching mustache, but I thought that was where the resemblance ended. Thanks. What can I get started for you? Without responding, the fake Wendy turned and ran out the door. She had a surprising pep in her step for an old lady. The whole interaction was weird, but I put it in the back of my mind since we were so busy. A few hours later, she stormed back into the restaurant. Only this time she had a white suit with her. It was a replica of Colonel Sanders' outfit.
Oh.
She stormed up to my register with bulging eyes.
Here, put it on.
Nope.
It's perfect.
She shoved the suit over the counter, forcing it against my chest so hard I stumbled backward. Whoa, calm down, ma'am.
Put it on now. It's perfect.
Her shriek pierced the quiet restaurant. Customers turned around to look at us. Ma'am, please back up.
Put it on now.
My manager stormed out of his office. What's going on here? I wheeled around and told him that this creepy old lady was harassing me. I had a lot of problems with my manager, but one good thing about him was that he didn't take nonsense from customers. He immediately yelled at the creep to get out of the restaurant.
Not without the Colonel.
It freaked me out how she ignored my name tag and referred to me as the Colonel.
And
My
not
manager
Gordon?
called the cops, and they came and escorted the lady out of the store. She didn't go easy. They had to drag her out of the store kicking and screaming. She kept looking at me and yelling Colonel over and over. Finally, the police wrangled her out of the restaurant. I thought that'd be the last time I'd ever see her. God, was I wrong. My next shift, 2 days later, was the third shift. I normally didn't work that late, but my manager asked me to work with him that night as a favor. And since he'd gotten rid of that creepy lady for me, I figured I owed him one. The restaurant had a sinister vibe as I drove up to it. A thin fog had coasted in, and the bright neon lights from the sign barely chased off the darkness. Only one other car was in the parking lot. My boss's. I felt my hands get slick with sweat. I hated being out at night. I wanted to go back home, but I'd made a promise. I sighed and slipped out of my car. The Wendy's was dark as I walked in. The overhead lights were turned off. The only light came from the glowing menu screens behind the counter. I called out my manager's name but got no response. I knew he had to be there. I could hear the stove hissing and the fryers bubbling. Maybe he was just trying to conserve power. I swallowed my fear and stepped behind the counter, pushing the kitchen door open. I'll never forget what I saw. My manager was tied to a chair. Duct tape covered his mouth. His face was painted white, with red around the eyes and mouth. A red wig was shoved on his head, and he'd been crammed in a yellow jumpsuit. He looked like Ronald McDonald,
No.
but his eyes bugged out of his head in panic. The old lady stepped forward from the dark. She was still in her Wendy's costume. Her bony hand was wrapped tightly around a long kitchen knife.
Colonel Sanders, you're here.
My heart was hammering in my chest.
The
I
heck?
wanted to bolt, but I'd seen the old lady run, and she was just as fast as me. What do you want?
I need you, Colonel. You're one of the only ones I'm missing.
To make a chicken sandwich?
Slow steps forward, getting closer and closer to me. I had no idea what this lady was talking about, but I didn't want to end up tied to a chair dressed as Colonel Sanders. I turned on my heels and ran.
Yep.
Before I could get to the door, that psycho threw the knife in me. It grazed my arm, slashing into my skin and sending hot pain searing through my body. I screamed, freezing in place and clutching my wound.
Oh, keep
Warm
going.
blood
Yeah.
Keep going.
I wheeled around. That crazy lady was shuffling towards me with that stupid white suit.
If I get you, I'm one step closer to a complete collection.
Get away from me, lady! I'm warning you!
Punch her in the face.
She wouldn't listen. She just kept inching towards me with that horrible grin.
You've got to be able to take her, you know?
Right?
But I knew this lady was going to hurt me if I didn't do something. I reared back my arm and punched her as hard as I could.
There you go.
My fist connected with her wrinkly skin, sending her flying backward.
Okay, now I feel bad.
A feeble yelp and smashed against the floor. Her head smacked against the black and white tile. Her eyes stared up at the ceiling blankly. A pool of blood began to form around her head, soaking her pigtails. I couldn't believe what I'd just done. I wanted to scream and run away, but I forced myself to untie my manager and call the cops. They came over and reviewed the security footage and determined that I'd been acting in self-defense. I didn't think it could get any more horrifying, but when the police searched her house, they found more bodies, and all of them had been dressed up as fast food mascots. The old lady had been going around and killing people to assemble a sick collection of corpses dressed as restaurant characters.
What?
I know she's dead now, but I've shaved my mustache and dyed my hair black just in case.
Yeah.
Every night I have nightmares where she comes back to life and finds me again. Only those times, I don't escape her.
Oh my gosh.
Does anybody else kind of want Wendy's right now? That sounds kind of good. Like a little, Baconator with the Frosty. That does sound kind of good. No?
You sound insane.
Just me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All this, the kidnapping and murdering makes me hungry.
I'm going to Burger King.
A Whopper Jr. Okay, last one. Here we go.
This was last year, I think sometime in April. It was raining pretty much every day here, but this night was a lot heavier than usual, with scattered thunderstorms throughout the day. I was at work for most of the afternoon, but got back home around 8. As I was driving down my neighborhood road though, it was very clear that something had happened. All the lights were out in every single home. I pulled into my driveway and parked, and of course when I entered and tried to turn on the lights, it didn't work. The power was completely out, and my whole house was basically pitch black. I tossed my stuff by the doorway, then went down to the electrical box just to see if for some reason that worked, but it didn't. This really sucked because I didn't have hardly any spare lights aside from my phone. What I ended up doing was getting my laptop and setting it up on the coffee table in my living room. The white screen from the YouTube page that I had open lit up most of the room, so I sat back and just watched some videos. I had to work early the next day, but I didn't feel comfortable going to bed with the power out, so I was already planning on staying up late. I probably sat there for a good 2 hours, watching YouTube and checking my phone for any updates on the weather. The lightning was shaking the whole house, so it was pretty bad out there. But randomly in the night, a thump came from outside the window.
Oh.
I jumped a little, then turned my laptop screen to light up that side of the room.
It's not enough.
And walked over, then twisted open the blinds.
Bro.
I froze up for a second, not expecting to see a man standing right on the other side of the window.
Jeez.
His drenched hair was falling over his face, and he was peering through the window at me. He yelled something, but I honestly couldn't hear him with the heavy rain and thunder in the background.
Close it.
Being so caught off guard though, I didn't know what to do. I was a little freaked out though, so I just closed the blinds.
Yep, there you go.
I felt kind of horrible about it, but why was he outside banging on my window anyway? I heard him hit the window a few more times, then it went quiet. I figured he'd either given up or moved on to another house, so I turned my laptop toward me again and continued watching YouTube.
Watching my videos?
The storm stayed strong
Maybe.
through the whole night.
Subscribes.
Yeah.
I must have been up for another hour, but my eyes got really heavy and I just couldn't hold out any longer. I lay down on the couch and drifted off to sleep.
Oh.
I woke up to a loud crash. I didn't know if it was a nearby lightning strike or what, but I immediately got up from the couch. The power was still out, and the whole house was still pitch black. I turned my phone on and looked around, and that's when I heard something from the back of the house. My heart was pounding as I walked into the other room. When I shined my light down the house toward the back room, there were several large shards of glass on the ground reflecting the light back at me.
Broke the
Then
window.
see the nearest window completely shattered, with rain pouring into the house and the blinds blowing frantically in the wind. And just a couple feet from there, I could see a shoulder sticking out from behind the wall. My whole body jerked when I saw them, and I instantly spun around and went for the front door. I ran through the rain, getting soaked all the way through, until I got to my neighbor's house. I stood under their overhang on the porch and called 911. It's no surprise that the man wasn't there when police showed up. Although not getting a full look at him inside my house, I was 100% sure it was the same guy from earlier, so I gave them that description. Oddly enough, or maybe not so much, there were 2 more reported break-in attempts that night, as well as several other reports of strange behavior outside people's homes. I was the only one unfortunate enough to have had them successfully break inside, but nobody knows what he was trying to do, and it seems like we won't ever know. Since then, he's never been sighted in or around our neighborhood.
And that's why I don't have windows in my house, right?
And that's why I don't have a house.
Yeah, because she's homeless. But if you guys hear a knock or like a crack in the middle of the night, don't go looking to see what it is. Just hide and call somebody, because it's better to be on the safe side. Just, just mind your business and then wait till the morning and wait till the power comes back on.
Yeah, if I had gotten home and the power was off, I'm gonna go to a friend's or parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Or yours.
Yeah. Stick around with some people who know how to fight and know how to throw grenades. Fire in the hole. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smack that like button. And yeah, we're gonna see ya in the next one. Peace.